Meanwhile, the government has announced its budgetary relief allocation after Hurricane Beryl. Earlier this week, while speaking during the sitting of the House of Representatives, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says although the hurricane did not trigger disaster insurance payouts, the government has enough resources to address hurricane recovery. Courtney Lewis reports.
The government has recommitted itself to fiscal prudence, this time with recovery efforts post-Beryl. In an update to the lower house Tuesday, the finance minister announced a $5 billion drawdown from the government's $10 billion disaster risk fund.
We must bear in mind that as intense as Beryl was and as much damage as it caused, there have been few hurricanes that have been more meteorologically more intense and more damaging to Jamaica than the Ivan and Dean in 04 and 07. And we have to remember that we are in the beginning of the hurricane season. We still have August, September, well, the rest of July, August, September, October, November. And so we can't completely drain these resources. As such, Madam Speaker, the government plans to tap $5 billion from our disaster risk financing resources to address the immediate relief and recovery efforts related to Hurricane Beryl.
According to the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, the effects of Beryl did not activate the nation's catastrophe bond. The finance minister says any additional recovery and relief funding will come exclusively from donations from international banks and agencies.
Any amount above the $5 billion that we draw from these resources, Madam Speaker, that is for this fiscal year, we will finance through the proceeds of donations and through reallocation of budgetary resources. And all expenditures undertaken in relation to Hurricane Beryl up to that point in time will be represented in and all expenditures undertaken and planned to be undertaken will be represented in the first supplementary estimates to be tabled later this year.
The minister further outlined sectors which are now a government priority.
Absolutely necessary and vital in the prioritization, they go up to the top of the queue. The schools that have to be reopened, as the PM would have spoken to, the hospitals where the roofs are gone, are two obvious examples of the prioritization that's necessary. But when people, for example, say the damage in agriculture is X billion, if you have a crop that has a 6-month cycle, you're definitely not going to replace X billion dollars of damage from the agricultural crop overnight. That is something that, obviously takes place over time. What you can do up front is to help people with fertilizers and seeds so you can replace the loss, but it's going to be replaced over time.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.